Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Championship Leadership Podcast. Today we have Dr. Terry Levine with us out of Philadelphia. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
I appreciate being here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll kick it off with this question. Championship Leadership is the name of the podcast. What comes to mind for you? What does that mean to you when you hear championship leadership?
To me, that means championing other people. That means actually seeing the good in them, the greatness in them, the potential in them, the possibility in them, inspiring them, and bringing that out in them. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think one of the great characteristics of great leaders is, you just being able to bring out more in someone else than they tend to probably bring out in themselves on their own, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. 100%. Well, let's tell us, the listeners, just a little bit more about yourself and what you're up to and maybe the path that's gotten you to where you are today.
Sure. Well, it's been a diverse path, I'll say that. I've been in business for over 40 something years. And I started as a speech language pathologist. I started my own business knowing nothing about business and created a very successful business. Then I went on to create an art business, totally different business,
Wow. Yeah.
really crazy success. And then I went into a whole different field, rehabilitation medicine, occupational, physical, and speech therapy, contracting that to nursing homes and hospitals. And that was another successful business. And that's when I went, oh, I have a way of creating successful
Yeah, you're
business.
kind of good at this thing.
So for the last 26 years, I've been very, very myopic. I have just focused on working with small business owners, grow their business, get all the leads they can handle, close more sales, and make a lot of money. And I even guarantee my process, which most business consultants won't do.
That's great. I love it. Art business. Tell me more. How did that happen?
So here I am with my speech pathology business. I'm still quite young, and literally somebody came in and wanted to buy the business. And I sold the business, and I had plenty of money after I sold it. I'm in my early 20s. I'm scratching my head going, now what? And
Hmm.
my husband said, do something that you feel really strongly about. And I grew up very, very poor. And one day my father got a brand new job, and like instantaneously we went from lower middle class to upper middle class. It was an overnight
Oh,
thing.
wow.
So we moved into a neighborhood, and I went to somebody's house to play. And I always still remember this. A woman came to the door dressed in a uniform. I'd never seen that before other than
Yeah.
like television, right?
Yeah.
And she led me into a room called the library, which I'd only seen at the public library.
Yeah. Right.
And I was really intimidated in the room, Nate. There was art hanging on the wall and art lights. And I remember standing in the room like this, afraid to touch anything. So I wanted to bring art to the middle class. I found a way to buy art all over the world from top artists, make it affordable. And then I would literally bring it into people's homes, show them like 80 paintings, and they would have their friends over. They'd have this great party. I would teach them about art, how to hang art, how to decorate. And before I knew it, I had 28 other art consultants doing just what I was doing.
Oh, wow. That's great. I love it. So you sold that business?
Sold that business. And then the third business that I started was this rehabilitation services business. And that I have to share, that's the craziest story.
Yeah, please.
I started it with two other gentlemen. We started with literally nothing, and we did almost 88 million in under 6 months. Now,
Wow.
it's not like I can go replicate that tomorrow. What I want to
Yeah.
say, we were in the right industry with the right message, the right
Yeah.
offer at the right time. It
Yeah.
was a lot of work. That is when I realized I definitely have a knack for doing this, and I just want to help other people do what I've done.
Hmm. I love it. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Well, let's talk. Who are some of the championship leaders that maybe have impacted you, or coaches, mentors, even, and less about who, but what is it about them? What are some of the leadership characteristics that really stand out that maybe you've even taken to help mold who you are as a leader?
I love that question. Well, the very first person that comes to me is when I started my art business. I had no idea how to start an art business. And there was a woman in a competitive business to mine who said, call me anytime, let me help you, and truly helped me and became my first coach, my first mentor. And then she led me to the great Zig Ziglar,
Oh, I
who,
love
oh,
Zig.
love Zig. I had the privilege and the opportunity to be a born to win trainer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it still gives me goosebumps. So Zig was my first official mentor. And I think the biggest takeaway I learned from Zig is kind of the foundation of my whole company, which is Heart-repreneur, which is just keep focusing on helping other people. Everything
Yeah.
else happens. And that lesson stayed with me. And then two others that I just want to really mention here that are now actually really, really good friends of mine, Joe Vitale and Joel Bauer. Joe Vitale and I, gosh, I think we started on the journey together like 25 years ago. And he just taught me so much about doing business really with heart and in a way where I could be of more and more service. And Joel Bauer helped me take what I do and really help people to make a decision to say yes without being salesy. So those two people just are foremen in my mind. And the last thing is all of those people have one thing in common. They were all focused on helping me and customizing what would work for me, not me being a model or an imitator of them. So I wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, thank you. And that's been something that it's come up a lot over the last 2 days for me on the different podcasts is just being you, especially as a leader. If you try to be someone else, if you try to be some other leader uh, or lead in a way that someone else does, but it's not you, it's not going to work, right? It's definitely not going to be authentic. It's not who you are. And that kind of goes into the conversation too of just this. It's June 5th right now. George Floyd's death has sparked, obviously, across the world, a spotlight on still the progress that needs to be made as far as social injustice and racism and everything else. And so, the conversation is, man, sometimes it's you don't know what to say, don't know what to do, you're afraid to say anything at times because of social media and today's, like people can take what you say and twist it a million different ways, and it's just kind of in a way timid for some people to move. But uh, that conversation around that has just been like, show up and be you and do what you can do that feels right for you, and don't be pressured to just because everybody else is posting on social media that's what you need to do. Just because if you if you don't have the ability to go protest, then maybe what are other ways that you can just show up. And so again, that's just a conversation of in all areas, no matter what's going on. It's always best to just fall back to who you are. At a conversation yesterday, it's like we were talking, had a guest, his name's Evan Money, just an incredible guy, super high energy. And then he introduced me to my guest yesterday, and we're like, Evan Money, and he's like, he's a special guy, but like he's a lot, but it's just like who he is, right?
Mm.
And if you try to be him, like it's just not going to work. And then he used the analogy of Sam Elliott, right? Like Sam Elliott isn't this high energy guy, but like, when you hear him talk, it's just like you just want to listen to, right? So it's just like, yeah, be you, own you. And so I love that you brought that up, and the universe is speaking for sure, because it's popping up in a lot of different conversations. So what are some ways that you help others just be themselves and help them to build the businesses? Small, you work with small business owners and entrepreneurs. So yeah, what are some ways that you do that?
Well, I think most people initially hire a business strategist because they want strategies and tactics. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm very different. I don't instantly go, okay, let's apply this strategy. That's going to bring you a lot of leads. I work with people from the inside out. I'm also a clinical psychologist. I also have a master's in life coaching and lots of certifications. I look at a person and their business, and the first thing I start to look at is what is going on with you. Because
Yeah.
if you don't have all the leads you can handle, if you're not converting all the sales that you can handle, if you're not innovating your business and making money, we've got to actually look at you. And then we can find your message, a heart to heart message that comes from your own transparency, your own authenticity and integrity. And I call that reverse marketing. It's when people come to you, they raise their hand and they say, I'm interested, versus what I constantly see is people hunting for clients everywhere. Let's stop that. Let's work from the inside out, then get some proven strategies and tactics that you authentically apply in your business.
Yeah, I love that. That is great. I've been partnered with a business partner for the last 3.5 years, and just on Friday, just made the decision to make the cut and to go out and create my own business full time, and so that I can be more of me, because we all have a message, and it's, you don't want to go work with everyone, but you do want to be really clear on who it is that you're going to work with. And that's one of the first things working with one of my marketing guys is like, let's take a time out. Everybody's excited to go implement the tactics and strategies, just like you said, but like, let's just take some time to really do some work and some research and find out who that right client is for you, and what that message is going to be. And oftentimes we want to fast forward through that because we're excited. We just want to kind of get into the business and the tactics and the strategies, but that piece is so important to so you have that foundation moving forward.
Yeah, I tell people we've got to slow down to go forward. So we have to really nail down that very specific tiny niche. Most people come to me, go, yeah, I know what my niche is. And then I hear it, I'm like, way too big. So we narrow that down. And then you've got to find out, what do they want or need? You just can't offer them a widget or a program because you're excited about it. And so you've got the right audience, you've got the right result that they are really looking for and ready to invest in. You get in front of them with a compelling message and some type of a guarantee. I really feel strongly about this, Nate. If you're not willing to guarantee what you do, go do something else.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the structure and the strategy. And yes, we slow people down, and then they can exponentially get all the leads they can handle. We've got to start with that foundation, as you said.
I love it. Um, what is like what I call a defining moment, critical moment in your life? I'm sure you've had many, but you did make the decision that you did, which has you where you are today. But had you not, you could be in a very different place in life. And it's not necessarily that maybe there would, not that you would be regretful, but you could just be somewhere very different, right? Just depending on the choices that we make. Obviously, that definitely depends on the direction that we're going to head. Kind of that fork in the road moment, though, because a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, and just like myself, I was in that moment on Friday when I made that decision. Right now, probably a lot of people would kind of like, you decided to do that now with like COVID and everything else that's going on in the world, but it just felt right for me. And now it's up to me to go, make that a reality for myself, which I feel very confident to be able to do. But is there a moment that comes to mind for you that sticks out?
Yeah, first, I just want to celebrate you for making that decision and going with your heart. So
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So here's what happened for me. After owning all these different businesses and selling them, I went and took a job, and I was president of a national healthcare company. And the company loved me. I got paid highly. I got stock options, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I hated it. Okay.
Yeah.
Hated it. Every day I went to work and I went, I'm miserable. However, I just was going to keep doing it. I think my ego was like really involved. And then my mother passed away, who was literally my best friend on the planet. She died of emphysema. It was a horrific death. 7 days later, my friend Marnie died of breast cancer. And I was at Marnie's funeral 7 days after my mother died. And I remembered something that Marnie said to me while she was on hospice. And Marnie said, don't make your life about working. Make your life about meaning. And at her funeral, I said, I need to quit this job, and I need to do what's in my heart and not worry about how the money's going to flow or what my ego has to say, because life is obviously very short. We don't know our checkout date, and I was not going to wait a day longer. I literally quit my very secure job instantaneously and started my coaching and consulting business.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that's so true. And, if we all really realized how short life truly can be, we would all listen to that a little bit more. Listen to your heart, listen to your gut. I think that's a big reason. I have this, like, I had a friend, are you excited or are you nervous? And I was like, well, I'm just really more excited than anything. Maybe I should be more nervous than I am. Maybe it's being naive. I don't think so. I just feel very, very at peace with the decision. And so I know I'm in the right place when that happens. Right. So
that's how I trust my decisions intuitively, when I am feeling good and comfortable, despite what anyone else on the planet might have to say.
yeah.
When
Yeah.
I quit my job, right, my husband has always been my biggest supporter, and
Yeah.
we just celebrated our 41st wedding
Oh,
anniversary.
wow. Congrats.
Thank you. And I could see the look on his face, kind of like, are you crazy? But he didn't.
Yeah.
My father, who was living with us at the time, was like, I don't understand. You've got a master's and a PhD, and what are you doing? You're throwing it all away. And I said, I have to do what feels right for me. And of course, years later, he was out there celebrating me. So
Yeah.
go with
Yeah.
your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what's the big vision for you? Championship leaders have a great vision and courage to take action on that. What's ahead for you, and the path that you're on and the impact that you're making?
Thank you for asking that. So I have kind of a big goal. I really do. So far, we've served about 6,000 client family members, helping them do business more heart to heart, having people come to them and lots of qualified leads. I have a goal of helping a million other business owners shift from doing business as a transaction and marketing all over the place, to really having heart to heart conversations and doing business from a place of value. And that is my vision and my goal. And I work at that every single day.
Awesome. I love it. So how are you going to reach a million people, a million
Such a
business
good
owners?
question. So I'm a prolific author. I've written 45 books.
That is prolific.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I literally have thousands of articles on a regular basis that appear in publications, on other people's blogs. I'm constantly on radio and TV, as well as my own radio and television. I have a magazine. I have what I call like a built-in army. I have over 1,000 really loyal Heart-repreneur cause members that are out there spreading the word with me. I used to go and speak on large stages around the world, and so we've just simply converted that. I'm doing the same kind of talks and presentations on video, on Zoom, on Facebook Live, and every single day we're reaching more and more people, and we are increasing and disrupting the way people are doing business.
I love it. That's amazing. And 45 books. How do you write 45 books?
So I'm the first advocating that nobody listens to that and goes, I'm going to go do that. It's a terrible advice. I started writing when I was 7, and I love to write. I wrote poems. I wrote a letter to the editor in a New York newspaper, and it became a letter to Santa Claus that went into hundreds of newspapers worldwide.
Oh, wow.
And I realized that was something that comes very easily to me. I didn't realize that a lot of people have difficulty writing. And so when I have an inspired idea that I want to get to the masses, I write it in form of a book. And for me, it's quick and easy to write a book. And so everyone's got to find kind of what they love. That is a hobby and an interest and a passion of mine. I may take a break for a year.
Yeah.
That's what I love to do. Once or twice a year, I'm rolling out a book.
Okay. Well, that's great. I love it. I've written 3 books, but so I got a little work ahead of me, but I'm working on it. So let's wrap this up. One last question for you. What, if there were 1 or 2 things you could give the listeners that if they implemented today would help them move their life forward today, what would that be?
I'm going to give them a couple of things. The first is find someone that can champion you, whether it's a coach, consultant, mentor. And I'm really recommending, it's not your best friend, it's not a family member.
Yes.
I've invested in coaches ever since Zig Ziglar, which is like back in 1982. I wouldn't go it alone. So number 1, get someone on your team to champion you. Number 2, really important that you take the time to ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Not just to be marketing and marketing. Why is it that you're doing this thing? Where is your passion? And how much do you want to wake up in the morning and do this? Because otherwise, you're not going to be driven, you're going to be procrastinating, and you're going to be a cookie cutter of everyone else doing stuff out there. We don't need more of that. We need you authentically doing what you can help people do from your heart and from your passion.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Thank you. Um, yeah, I appreciate you being here. What are a few ways that we can follow you and find out more about the 45 books that you have and all the thousands of articles and all the great things that you're up to?
Sure, I'll give you a couple quick ways. If you want to join us on Facebook, we have a very active business group with tons of information and advice for free. And that's a Facebook group called Heart-repreneurs with Terry Levine. You can go to my website at heartrepreneur.com. My blogs are there, my articles, my radio show, my TV show, my magazine, it's all there. And I'm going to give away a 4-part video series to literally help you identify your message and get a lot more leads. And that's for free at the ultimatebusinessgrowthsystem.com. So all of those things are totally free and my way of paying it forward.
Great. I appreciate that. And we'll definitely make sure that I get that linked up for the listeners as well. So thank you so much, Terry, for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And once again, I celebrate you. I love who you are, living in your heart. And thank you for being the champion you are, Nate.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too.